My boyfriend's entitled mother is not allowing him to move into the house that is under his name, and now we're ready to take her to court. My partner and I started our relationship 5 years ago. When we met, I found out he shared a mortgage with his mother because when her ex left, she couldn't hold the mortgage herself. My boyfriend was a good son to his mom, so he stepped up and did the right thing at the time. I moved in with him after 7 months, and that's when I started to realize there's something really off about his mother. To give a visual of the house, it's a 2-story house with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms upstairs and 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom downstairs. When I moved in, we lived in his bedroom upstairs. All downstairs was absolutely filled to the ceiling with junk and boxes, almost like an episode of Hoarders. Completely unlivable. There's also a laundry room down there, and that's where we all did our laundry. We were finally able to convince his mom to get her stuff out of the way so we can move downstairs and have a bit more privacy. There's a door leading into the living area of the downstairs, and she would use that to get to the laundry. We spent most of our time in our living area and got tired of her constantly coming through it, so I tried to talk and make a compromise. There was 2 other ways to get to the laundry room. One is down the outside stairs to the laundry room door, and the other is through the garage and through the hall. I went and bought some curtains to set up on either side of the door, so she had her own special hallway, but it didn't really matter because she kept going through the curtains towards our side of things anyways. One day we replaced the doorknobs with a doorknob that locks, and that lock would be from the inside. We had locked up and left the house for a few hours. When we got back, we found she had taken a butter knife and forced open the lock, something that could have easily been avoided. When we confronted her, she got on the floor and cried, and my boyfriend went over to comfort her, and that's when I realized that she is manipulating him. I only asked why she did that, and she broke down with crocodile tears. Eventually, I convinced my boyfriend to get away, and we moved into an apartment in town. It was absolute bliss. I think from there he started to gain a lot more confidence and stopped talking to his mom as much. This was all 4 years ago. After we moved out, my boyfriend's mother decided to spend a bunch of money and renovate the downstairs and make the house into a duplex type situation, with her living on the bottom floor. It's separate now, and she's invading no one's space. She's charging a tenant $2,200 to live upstairs, which almost completely pays for her mortgage and all of her bills. Now here's the kicker of all of this. My boyfriend is still on the title and mortgage of this house. When he was there, he was paying everything, including her phone bill. All of this would make sense as his mother does not work. So fast forward to now. I'm 2 months pregnant with my boyfriend's baby. We're starting a family, and my boyfriend has asked to move into the upstairs apartment so he can have a bigger home to raise our baby in. His mother said no. So because of this, we asked her to take his name off of the house, and she still said no. She refuses to let him live in the house, she won't buy him out of owning part of the house, and she won't take his name off of the house because that means that she would not be able to keep the house. She cannot keep the house without my boyfriend being listed on it. Her reasoning is that she wants to save up for her retirement, and she needs the $4,000+ a month she makes from the tenant, along with alimony money, disability money from the government, and under the table work that she does on the side. All of this while we as a couple are currently grasping at straws. My boyfriend has finally realized that his mother doesn't care about him or his child, and now we are taking her to court. That house is worth almost $700,000, and we are going to force a sale for at least half of it. She's proved time and time again that she's selfish, greedy, and entitled, and she just takes advantage of her son. And honestly, I'm just in shock over all of this, because it's the fact that she has done everything she can to take advantage of my poor boyfriend, despite the fact that he has done everything for her. Really sad stuff going on here because I can see this unfolding. I've met people like this who use their family members just so they can get a leg up and then abuse the courtesy that others have extended to them. This lady is no different. She not only decided to take over this house that is not completely hers, but then deny the person who is on the mortgage the right to live in this home, which by the way is now a duplex because this lady renovated it to be such. This lady is literally working the system just so she can have a free place to live, and all at the expense of his son and his girlfriend and his child. He has every right to move into that house, and she cannot stop him from having part of it, if not owning it outright and being a part of this home. Apparently this is going to be a really long process to try and force a sale from his mother, but it really is for the best, especially when you have a mom that is absolutely a garbage human being and doing everything she can to take advantage of the kindness of her son, which in my opinion is completely unacceptable. Am I the jerk for getting upset at one of my friends giving me a bad rating on Snapchat? My friend in this story we will call Sarah. That's not her real name, just for reference. Sarah has always been the ringleader of our friend group containing 6 people, including me, and I feel like she strongly dislikes me, even though I am always caring for everyone else, and despite that, I'm always the one left out. For example, let's say we were going to hang out at the park. If that was going to happen, I would be the person that's going to be left out. This actually happened a few times, and once I was coincidentally at the park when they were hanging out. They were embarrassed and just tried to pretend like they were going to ask me, or they thought I was busy when in reality, they just did not want to include me. Another example comes from school. We were having a group assignment and the group limit was 4 people, and Sarah said, I hope we can do it with 5 people. Their thinking was, let's stretch the limit to 5 people so we can fit everyone in our friend group, leaving me out. They were also planning to get everyone matching rings and not one for me. Sarah is also an extremely manipulative person. Sarah intentionally left me out of this and so many other situations when she could have easily allowed me to be involved. And I know some of you are thinking that I'm probably not actually a part of their friend group, or that they don't think of me as being a part of the friend group. But whenever I'm part of the conversation, they're all saying that we're all in a friend group together. Anyway, after a long time of me asking my parents to allow me to get Snapchat, they finally agreed. I pretty much knew how Snapchat worked though, because I had a lot of friends who had it, and we had watched a lot of TikTok videos that involve Snapchat and things like that, so I knew how to use it pretty much. I'm pretty sure you guys are also familiar with the Send It feature. You can ask people for ratings on yourself, and like would you rather questions, things like that. Well, Sarah posted on her Snapchat story a Send It, and it said, send a name for a rating. I was obviously curious and I sent my name in. About half an hour later, Sarah posts on her Snapchat story my name with the following ratings. I've got a 4 for personality, a 4 for looks, a 5 for trustworthy, and a 5 for smarts. Overall, I'm kind of upset about this. I got nothing over a 6. I know you're supposed to be honest, but it still kind of hurt. And for all my other friends, they didn't get anything below 7s. I didn't tell anyone that I was upset about this because, well, I know they would get defensive of Sarah because, well, she's the ringleader, as I mentioned before. They would just say something like, well, you're supposed to be honest. And I get that, but it's just really annoying to me that she thinks of me this way. I'm honestly just not sure what to say or to say anything at all. Should I just leave it as it is for now, or should I speak up and say something? What should I do? I know it's probably going to be hard to hear, but those friends are not actually your friends. They consistently leave you out of stuff, and Sarah is incredibly mean to you. It may seem like Sarah's in charge, but in reality, all of them are avoiding you. Like, those are not your friends. You may feel like they are your friends because you're like trying to insert yourself into that group, but everything you have said in this post only proves further that they do not care about you. They talk bad about you on Snapchat. Sarah, this ringleader, is clearly conspiring against you, and all these other girls who are supposed friends with you are ignoring you and completely casting you aside. I would honestly recommend finding new friends who will treat you right and invite you out to things. You don't deserve to be treated like this by people who are clearly just ignoring you. And in all actuality, to really boil this down, Sarah is a straight up bully, and you can find much better friends who are actually going to care about you and find you valuable much quicker than you think. So cut them loose, find some new friends, and enjoy your life, because life is too short to get caught up with a crowd of people who don't care about you. My husband is in love with an online scammer who he believes is going to marry him. My husband and I are newlyweds. We are both 21 years old and we're both from Ukraine. And in Ukraine, it's pretty common to marry from the ages of 18 to 21. We married only in January. In March, my husband said he wants to take a break from living together because he is depressed and wants some alone time. He said that we will both not date other people and that it would be absolutely disrespectful and wrong if we see other people because he just needs time to feel better. I told him I agree, and that if anything changes and he decides to date others, to immediately let me know so we can divorce because I am not okay with that. He said yes, he would let me know, but he's not interested in doing that. Well, I found out that he started the break on March 28th and registered for a dating site the same day. On April 1st, already a girl messaged him and they've been talking every day and are in a relationship. I even asked him 2 weeks ago that if you have a girlfriend, I won't be mad, but tell me the truth so we can divorce. He has stopped texting me, he has stopped answering the phone, and he is lying to me. I only found out yesterday because he said he wanted a divorce immediately because he's marrying someone else. But I think she's not who she says she is. He says that she told him she's 18, working in Poland and Ukraine, and will come to Ukraine to be with him, and they will marry and be together forever because apparently she is perfect and he would never hurt her. Why would someone in Poland look for someone in Ukraine without even being physically here? Why would she go into a war zone to be with someone from Ukraine? The biggest thing is, he has never heard her voice, and she won't send a picture or talk on video call with him at all. I am pretty sure it's a 47-year-old Ukrainian man living in a basement. What hurts is he asked for a break on March 28th and replaced me immediately like it was nothing. He calls her the exact same nickname he called me. From all the nicknames he could have possibly chosen, he chose the one that was given to me. And he writes her the exact same words that he wrote me when I met him online. We of course met through online dating, but our situation was way different because we met in person. It looks like he's going to be moving forward with completely replacing me, and I feel absolutely completely replaceable. I'm so distraught over this, and I don't know what to do. What would you do if you're in my situation? This is an easy one for me because this is so obvious it's not even funny. You need to divorce this freak. If he really wants to be with this mysterious person online and spend the rest of their life with them and get married to a stranger they've never met, they've never talked to, never had any physical interaction with in the slightest, then he deserves the best. Because that, in my opinion, is a fantastic way to not only get hurt, to not only get kidnapped, but also to get completely catfished. This guy is ruining the good thing he has in his life, which is you. And you could do so much better than this weirdo trying to date some online scammer, who he's never met, by the way. I think online dating is fantastic when you do it right. Whether it's through an application or a website, it's a good way to get to know people and to meet people. But that second part, in my opinion, is the most important part. You have to meet them in person. You can't possibly expect to want to marry somebody who you've never met. I understand there's cultural differences around the world where people have different expectations, but for the most part, and from my own perspective, there's no way on earth I would decide, hey, this person I've been talking to for maybe the past few weeks, this person, I'm going to marry them, even though I've never met them. That just sounds crazy to me. I feel really bad for the woman in this situation because she deserves so much better than this. This is just unacceptable. His behavior is literally a reflection of his character and has nothing to do with this lady's worth, value, or importance. The sooner she lets go of this guy, the happier she will feel. And this guy can be happy with his mysterious, non-existent girlfriend on the internet. A lot of things about my boyfriend bother me, and I don't know if I should continue to be with him. I have been with my boyfriend for just a couple of months, but I'm already having second thoughts. I think he's a nice guy and we have a few things in common. We both like hockey, video games, stuff like that. But there are a lot of things about him that bother me. Even though I like him and I think he's a fun guy, these issues, especially combined all together, are making it hard for me to like him as much as I feel I should like a new partner. To be honest, many of them are complete turnoffs. Since the relationship is still new, I feel I should probably end things before they get too serious. If that's something I want to do, but I need help figuring it out. To start things off, he has no productive hobbies. Most of his free time goes to smoking the herb, vaping, and playing video games. I love games as well, but I spend a fraction of the time that he does playing them. I think it's important to have more activities and hobbies that get you outside or be creative, like hiking or playing music, something. He also pressures me into smoking the herb with him, which I did once because I felt pressured to. I don't generally smoke or drink much, but he kind of made me feel like I was boring for not wanting to do these things with them. He also generally looks down on me being on antidepressants. He has actively encouraged me to stop taking them and to just try smoking the herb instead, as if that's a solution. This next one is really the worst one, but he has made some racist and prejudiced remarks that really bother me. I expressed to him that these are very inappropriate and that they upset me, and he just kind of shrugged it off. He said that it shouldn't matter what he says behind closed doors, but to me, that is a big deal. That says a lot about a person when they're comfortable and saying it in that kind of context. It makes me think ahead of if we had any children. Is he going to try and pass on these prejudice ideologies onto them? It just really doesn't settle well with me. He doesn't have many friends, and the few that he does have, he rarely sees or puts any effort into. He also complains a lot about his job and has threatened to quit numerous times without having any sort of backup plan or other education. I know it's important for him to be happy, but he doesn't seem very ambitious or motivated in his career, and it scares me to think of what he would do if he actually did quit. He can be very high-strung and difficult at times, and he also overthinks a lot about our relationship, which makes it hard to enjoy it. I definitely feel like I might be settling on him, but what do you guys think? Am I being too sensitive or difficult? Are my expectations too high? I don't have much experience dating, and so this is all very new to me. I am very close with my sister who told me it doesn't sound like he's the right man for me, but I wanted some unbiased opinions. What should I do? You should dump this guy almost immediately. Your boyfriend is currently casually racist, and there's no reason for you to stick around with that. I would not want to raise kids around that in the slightest. He also sounds like a deadbeat, like he has no productive hobbies, he has no ambition in his life. He would much rather just sit around, play video games, and smoke the herb. You could do that on your free time, do whatever you want on your free time, but to be any semblance of a father or a productive husband in your life, he needs to cut those habits, or you need to find someone who is going to be more involved in your life, because this is just unacceptable. To put some context into this, her boyfriend's 28 and she's 27. That's like prime time to try and figure out what you want to do with your life. It's not like that across the board for everybody, but that is a really crucial time to know what you do and don't want to do. And spending all of your time just playing video games or other activities is not going to be good. It's okay to do that in your free time. Do that as a hobby. They can even do it together. But only doing that, as well as complaining about your job and saying, oh, I'm going to quit, without having a backup plan, is dangerous and something that this lady does not need. She deserves to have a man who's going to take care of her, who's going to be there for her, and provide for her and her family. It's unacceptable to allow anything else. A lot of the other things here just seem like minor inconveniences, like him not having a lot of friends, or him not having any kind of like hobby outside of video games. Like those are pretty minor in my book. But the fact that he is casually racist and says some pretty prejudiced remarks is more than enough for me to say you gotta go. And I can understand where you don't have a lot of dating experience and getting rid of your boyfriend might be scary, but in the end and overall, you will be a lot happier being away from someone like that. My parents want to reconcile and get back in contact with me after 6 years of no contact, and I don't know what to do. I am a 28-year-old female, and I'm the black sheep of my family, and have been for a long time. My parents were devoted Christians, and I felt completely trapped and suffocated. My dad would get in my face and scream at me until I had a panic attack. I stuttered for years because of it. I could never do anything right. When I was a teenager, I basically just started intentionally making my parents mad because, well, they were going to accuse me of doing it anyways. I had a string of bad boys, which were pretty toxic relationships, and in hindsight, I was just desperately wanting someone to love me. I did some illegal substances, I got a few misdemeanors, and I wasn't exactly the Catholic schoolgirl my parents wanted. Eventually, I went to rehab and then started doing therapy. Now, I'm pretty boring and ordinary. I am married to an amazing guy, and we have 2 children ages 2 and 4. I have a good career and we live a pretty ordinary life. I haven't seen or spoken to anyone in my family in 6 years, even though I only live about 45 minutes away from my hometown. I found a hobby I absolutely love and sell my creations at festivals and stuff like that. My husband and my children always come with me, and it's kind of a fun family thing to do. Well, over the weekend, we were vendors at a little festival, and I had all my artwork set up. I went to the bathroom so my husband and my children were running our booth. It turned out my mother was there, and she liked my artwork. My husband had texted me and told me my mom was looking at my artwork, but I had left my phone in my bag, so I didn't get it. I walked back as she was paying for one of my pieces. She didn't really recognize me at first. My physical appearance had changed a lot. I am at a healthy weight, I've colored my hair, and I just have a completely different style and look, especially if you compare it to when I was younger and on illegal substances. I knew who she was though, and was a little uncomfortable, but still spoke to her about the piece. It wasn't until my dad walked up that anybody recognized me. My parents were very weird about it. Kind of emotional and like I was a long-lost child or something. It was weird because they were the ones who left me. They were very surprised that I'm married and have children and now want to be grandparents suddenly. They were also very friendly and warm to my husband. I don't really understand that either because they were pretty prejudiced against my husband for being black. My children are also mixed, so this response from them was genuinely very surprising. I want to believe they are better people now than what they used to be, but I don't want my children to feel the way I felt with them. I don't want my children to be subjected to their religious crap either. I also don't want my family to deal with their prejudice ideologies. They have been very nice to me and seem genuinely interested in having a new relationship, but I am very hesitant. I am in a good place and I'm finally okay. I am happy. I don't want to feel the way I used to feel as a kid. They seem to be genuinely wanting to be a part of my family life, and I want to believe they're better, but I just don't know what to do. If you were in my shoes, what would you do? I think if there's one thing that this person can hang on to the most, It's the fact that they are an independent adult and they can set boundaries and say whatever they want. Nothing will change the way that they treated them as a child. That is trauma they will have to carry with them for the rest of their lives. So I don't blame them for a second for saying, hey, I don't know if I want you in my life. It sounds like it might be the case where the parents don't totally get the way they treated their kid. And maybe from their perspective, they see it as their kid just kind of ran off and did their own thing, and then they finally found him after 6 years. But I think if you want to get anywhere with them, even if you want them in your life, even to the smallest degree, they first and foremost need to understand completely and fully with all the raw details exactly how they made you feel as a kid. And if they can stomach that and they can accept that what they did was wrong and find some semblance of apologies and reconciliation on their part, then maybe, just maybe, you can let them into your life. But to be completely honest, based on what you're describing and some of their preconceived notions, I would be very hesitant to let those people back in my life. This is your life now. You finally found happiness, you found someone you care about, and you have 2 beautiful children that you love. You have a hobby that you're wonderfully involved in, and you're happy. And I don't think you have any obligation to bring these people back into your life who made you significantly unhappy. Maybe on the other end of this is some kind of awakening for them where they've said, hey, we were terrible people and we need to do better. But you're not obligated to try and facilitate that moment of healing for them. You genuinely, in my opinion, do not need to facilitate their recovery and their semblance of finding forgiveness. That's on them. Because in my opinion, they've done a lot of damage to you, and you spent 6 years in therapy and in rehab trying to find some solutions. And these are solutions to problems that they caused, by the way. I don't know, maybe I sound heartless, maybe I sound very unforgiving, but I personally don't have a lot of patience for people who are abusive. So in my opinion, proceed with caution if you do, but I don't blame you if you don't. But what do you think? Leave a comment down below. What would you do if you were in their situation? Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. To finish listening to all the stories, use the playlist at the top of the description. And the next time you live stream, use the Cream of the Crop music. Search Cream of the Stream on Spotify or whatever platform you use for copyright-free music to use for your next stream.